Hey y'all, it's your buddy Choppadong here coming at you with Box Checkers NFL Made Easy Week 1, DFS, FanDuel, DraftKings, all the spiel. I'll even lay it on you real quick here up front because we're going to talk running backs today. We've already talked quarterbacks. In fact, let's recap quarterbacks first. That might be the fancy way to go. All Box Checkers does is shows you quick ways to trim the player pool down. With quarterbacks, if they're home, they're implied to hit historical value more often, favored, implied team totals over 24 points, under $9,000 on FanDuel, and top 10 in QBR, which I will add to that list. But let's recap really quickly in the research station where those quarterbacks lie. You can filter out the spread to just the negative numbers. Those would be your favored quarterbacks. And you can sort A to Z or Z to A. Bring the big number to the top for all the implied team totals. You're going to find over 24-ish, so there's 25. Sam Darnold and above should be on a short-ish list. They are at least favored. They're at least implied to score points. They may be on the road. They may not be efficient quarterbacks, but they've got 2 of the 4 check marks already indicating these guys are in decent positions. You go through the third step and you say, who's at home? You got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Ryan Tannehill, and Matt Ryan on this list. Those guys hit the 3rd star. And then you've got your top 10 QBR guys, your efficiency metric. Mahomes, Allen, Tannehill, Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Those guys hit a 3rd star, but a couple of those guys are home and top 10 QBR quarterbacks. That's Mahomes, Allen, and Ryan Tannehill. Those are your 4-star quarterbacks. They check every box. They're home. They're favored. They're efficient. And they're... what's the one I'm looking for? Implied to score points, implied to score over 24 points. Not to mention the fact we don't have it to worry about this week, but we will add in a little bit extra metric of QBs under $9,000 on FanDuel pricing. Those tend to matter as well. Whereas it doesn't matter so much on DraftKings. Again, just to recap, because 300-yard bonus, 100-yard rushing bonus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes cheapest viable option on DraftKings is the better play. But over on FanDuel, we look for guys that can hit value, and the cheaper they are, a little bit better chance they are at hitting that 2.5, 3x value marker. So again, 4-star, 4 checkmark QBs. Mahomes, Allen, Tannehill, and that's it. Those are the guys you should be building around. Those are the guys that in your safer contests, your cash games, your head-to-heads, your 50-50s, your triple-ups, your multipliers, your ladder lineups, if you do those are the guys we should probably be focused on the most. Doesn't mean that somebody like a Trey Lance can't have a great game. It means he's going to incur more risk because he doesn't have the historical value numbers lined up in his corner. Same with Sam Darnold. Same with Justin Herbert, whatever. They're either on the road or they're not efficient or they're not implied to score that many points this week, yada, yada, yada. It makes it harder for them to have great games. They will still have outlier games, and they make great tournament options. But I'm talking about if you're looking for those safer contests, these are the quarterbacks we're going to narrow down the running backs too. But first, this is the type of information that you like, and this is the type of questions that you have answered, and you want to use these tools, and you want to filter these things out yourself. You need DFSArmy.com. One-stop shopping all things daily fantasy sports. Every sport, every coach, every tool is unlocked for you with a VIP membership, DFSArmy.com. Use coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P. Get that 10% discount each and every month you remain a member. And down there in the description, you can probably comment. I'll probably comment back. Like and subscribe to the video. It's your biggest dollar in my tip jar. I appreciate it every time. So how do we get into the running backs? What are we looking for? Well, once again, we open up the cheat sheet. And we've got home and favored. Why? Game flow, game script. Running backs do better when they're at home. They do better when they're favored. They get more use when they're falling behind and they're the underdog. They don't get thrown to all the time, right? Teams playing catch up. But those workhorse bell cow running backs do a good job when they're favored and they're up 2 scores late in the game. Pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock. The historical game flow favors them. Implied team total over 24 again. It implies more than 3 touchdowns per game. 18 plus touches. That's the hard one to come by. That's your volume. Opportunity equals fantasy points. The more times you touch the ball, that's why running backs are less volatile typically than wide receivers. They touch the ball more often. That's why quarterbacks are the least volatile of the positions. They touch the ball the most often. They control their own destiny. If I run a route and I don't get thrown the ball, I can't score any points. So I need to run, get the ball thrown at me 10, 20 times a game, and I'll probably do okay. But in a running back scenario, when they hand the ball to me 15 to 20 times per game, I'm definitely going to do okay if I'm set up with home, favored, and implied to score points, shows the matchups, shows that the team should be in a good position. Targets includes their floor. It ups their floor a little bit in that they do get some passing game work. That helps keep them on the field when they are behind, when they are throwing the ball, whatnot. Those are the backs that we want. Those are the backs that have the most secure workload. Red zone carries inside the 5. I've said it before, I'll say it again. In between the 20s is junk for fantasy. You want to be inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. That's where 75% of your fantasy points get scored. The other 25, so we've got all that yards to work, all those 80 yards to run down the field, 90 actually, down the field, and we're not scoring but 20 to 25% of our points across the fantasy season. 75% of our points are scored inside the 10. That is documented and proven for running backs. So that's who we're focused on. Guys that get the work and get the love inside, not the red zone, but the green zone, inside the 10. Okay, so I use inside the 5 on our research tool, but you can use inside the 10 if you want to. Let me show you how that works really, really quickly, and then we'll burn out of here. This is super simple stuff, guys. But it's such a good baseline to draw from each and every week that you don't have to worry about it. You can do this at Monday or Tuesday when the research station loads up. Bing, 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 walk through the research station, draw up your short list, draw up some of your tournament plays, watch for the chalkboard, watch for the ownerships, play around with the optimizer, build some lineups, which we've found. And back testing, if you want to see Geeks videos, I might link it in the description. It's pretty darn good in terms of looking at how to set up the optimizer for success in your tournaments and win that milli maker. We can show you how to do that too. I will link that actually in the description. So if I scroll over here, what am I looking for? Home, favored, right? So until we have the home designation in there, I've got to use a custom filter, and I've got to set up the favored. So I go less than 0. Give me those negative numbers, all the negs. Come on, sweetie. Yeah. Sometimes this damn thing lags a little bit. Slows us down. If you let it sit too hot, I know you're still working on it. If you let it sit idle too often for whatever reason, it becomes a piece of shit. And it really, really, really pisses me off. So pardon the PG rated language there. We're going to have to go back to the running back tab. We're going to start this son of a bitch over because that aggravates the living crap out of me. And it didn't take very long. It still aggravates crap out of me. So I go less than 0. Boom. There's all my favorites, right? So when I'm looking at all of my favorites, I can come here to the team total, go Z to A again if I want to. There's all of my guys that are over 24, 25 points, right? James Robinson just misses the cut. It doesn't mean he's not a good play. It means he's not going to get the 4th check mark. That's all it means. It means he's not quite as strong a play as Christian McCaffrey. Not quite as strong a play. It doesn't, again, mean not as strong a play as Amir Abdullah, for crying out loud. We're going to use volume to weed that turd out, okay? But these are the guys that are set up over 24 points, which is a historical inflection point that says those running backs perform better more often than not. So we use that, scroll over, 2020 stats. Let's kick the volume turds out of here. And it's not foolproof. You're still going to miss some plays. You might miss a road guy. You know, you got to use some damn common sense in here too. You might miss a road guy that's in a great spot otherwise. You might miss a injured guy that's just getting a start because Christian McCaffrey went down and now his backup gets in. Is going to get 15 to 20 touches, but on the year he only averages 5 touches. You got to use some common sense. None of this stuff is foolproof, but this works the majority of the time and gives you a very, very viable short list with a few exceptions that we may add on later in the week. Custom filter, greater than or equal to, say, let's see what we get if we punch in 15 touches. Very few. But if we're looking for the creme de la creme, we're looking for 18 touches and beyond, right? So here's your guys. James Robinson, not quite there, but McCaffrey, Cook, and Henry. This isn't designed to give you some complete list. This is designed to give you the best of the best, okay? So if I give myself just a smidge of flexibility here, and I drop down to, say, 13 touches, let's see if anybody else pops in there. There's a few more. You don't want Ronald Jones. You don't want Clyde Edwards-Helaire necessarily. You don't want these guys. They're not the bell cow. They don't factor in and get the touches that historically lead to that volume. So they're a little bit up and down. They need to score a touchdown, or they need to break a big play, or they need to catch a few passes, or whatever the case may be to bring that floor up into what you're looking for in terms of value to pay off that price tag. So those guys need a little bit more going for them. We can bank on Derrick Henry. We can bank on Christian McCaffrey. We can bank on Dalvin Cook. So I might take this. These guys are all over 25 points. Now, actually, they're not. I need to filter this out in the Vegas section. It's getting a little bit out of order here. But if I take the Vegas section and I filter that out to over 25 points, it'd be greater than or equal to, 24 implied points. James Robinson drops off. But there's my 24 guys. This allows me to shuffle this number up now. I can come over here to my 2020 stats and I can shuffle Z to A and see who's getting all the love, right? Henry, Cook, McCaffrey. Aaron Jones, only 14 touches per game. And that may change this year, but as of last year, there you go. 14 for Edwards-Helaire, 14 for Ronald Jones, 13 for Mostert, not starting in a committee, et cetera, et cetera. Don't use committees in cash games. Don't do it. You're gambling. You're flipping coins. Get somebody with a secure workload. Get somebody who's game script independent, game flow proof. That's what you're looking for with these big volume guys. They also receive a few targets, some more than others. Derrick Henry, obviously not many. Christian McCaffrey, quite a few. Some of these guys, you just want to see over about 3, right? Unless you're getting 25 touches a game. You want to see about over 3. That gives you a little bit more of a buoy. So if you wanted to say that you get over 20 touches per game, now you can come down a little bit in the rush attempts per game, like 14 plus 3 is 17. You're almost there with Aaron Jones. See what I'm talking about? That's how you can use these to kind of help each other out. But now we've got that short list. Henry, Cook, McCaffrey, Jones, Edwards-Helaire, etc. We come over here. Who gets used in the red zone? Who gets used in the green zone, right? Receptions, rushing attempts. Look at the rushing attempts on the bell cows. 35 and 36 attempts on Cook and Henry. If they get inside the 10, guess who they're giving the damn ball to? This other guy's not quite as much. Look at McCaffrey, not as much. That was hurt last year. We almost need to look at a percentage of times, and that's a percentage including his injury. We almost need to look at it, but we know he gets used in the red zone. Aaron Jones gets used in the red zone. Edwards-Helaire gets used in the red zone, inside the 5 even. These are the good numbers that we want to use. So we can probably check mark these guys off as being used inside the green zone, inside the 10, inside the 5. All right? So now we just need to figure out who's at home. We already know who's favored. We already know who is implied to score points. We know who is getting passing game work. We know who is being used inside the red zone. So when I come back, we're inside the green zone. So I come back here. We know that Kansas City's at home. You give Helaire another check mark. All right. We know Tennessee is at home. Give Derrick Henry another check mark. Minnesota is on the road, I believe. So doesn't mean that Dalvin Cook is not in a great position. It just means he doesn't get that check mark for being at home. It means Derrick Henry's in a slightly better position than Dalvin Cook. It means that if I was deciding between the two at the same price point and I could only afford one and then had to go for a value back at the other, I'm leaning on Derrick Henry as opposed to Dalvin Cook. That's what that means. Christian McCaffrey at home. So McCaffrey and Henry are probably 1 and 2. If you could put them both in your lineup, you're probably set up pretty good. Aaron Jones, Ronald Jones. That's a Thursday game, the Ronald Jones game. Let's look at Aaron Jones really quick in Green Bay. They are on the road. So Cook and Jones are out. Henry and McCaffrey are in. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in. Those would be a few of the guys on the short list that I'd be looking for this week. Really quickly, it's box checkers. It's that simple, front to back. Become a VIP at DFSArmy.com. Come in and talk about the guys that we've left off the list. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me in the comments. I'll probably answer back. Like and subscribe to the video. We'll come back and we'll do wide receivers either later today or tomorrow. And we'll get set up for Thursday's game and Sunday's games. And we're going to rock this bitch. So hop in here. Love to see you. Use that coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, for that 10% discount because friends don't let friends pay retail. And I'll see you on the inside. Peace, homies.